Okay, so question 26, last question in the paper. This question's worth 6 marks. It's very doable, but strap yourself in because it could be a bumpy ride. So solve this equation. So we have two fractions here. So what we need to do is make them the same type of fraction, the same as we would do if we were adding any other fractions. So what I need to do is multiply these two together to get a common denominator. So that would be my first step. So x plus 2 multiplied by x plus 1. Okay, now x times x gives me x squared, x times 1 gives me x, 2 times x gives me 2x, and 2 times 1 gives me 2. So this can be simplified, so I have x squared plus 3x plus 2. Okay, so that's my common denominator. So let's put this here. Like this. Okay. So this is my common denominator. X squared plus 3x plus 2. Now this will still equal 2 because all we're doing is adding the fractions. Now x plus 2 goes into this equation x plus 1 times. So this would be x plus 1, and we'd need to multiply that by 5. To that we would add, now x plus 1 goes into this x plus 2 times, and we need to multiply that by 4. Okay, so now we need to expand the top. So 5 times x is 5x, 5 times 1 is 5, plus 4 times x is 4x, and 4 times 2 is 8. All of this is going to be over x squared plus 3x plus 2, and this will equal 2. Now this can be simplified, so I therefore 5x plus 4x is 9x, 5 plus 8 is 13, and this is still all over the quadratic x squared plus 3x plus 2, and this still is equal to 2. Okay, so this is the bit that people are frightened of. Okay, but you multiply the denominators together, this gives you the lowest common denominator. Now this will go into this many times, so these need to be multiplied like this. This will go into this many times, so this needs to be multiplied by this. Okay, so you multiply it all out and then you simplify. Okay, and it will still equal whatever it equals. Now this is being divided by this, and I want everything in a line now. So this will come up and be multiplied. So we'll have 9x plus 13 equals 2 multiplied by x squared plus 3x plus 2. Okay, so we need to expand the brackets, so therefore 9x plus 13 equals 2 times x squared is 2x squared, 2 times 3x is 6x, and 2 times 2 is 4. Okay, now we can see here we have a quadratic, and the quadratic here is positive, so I want to leave it here, but I do know that all quadratics equal 0, so everything here I'm going to pull this way, remembering to change the signs. So 0 equals 2x squared plus 6x plus 4 minus 9x minus 13. Okay, so now this can be simplified so that 0 equals, and we have just 2x squared. Now 6x minus 9x is minus 3x, and then plus 4 minus 13 gives us minus 9. Okay, so now we've got it down to a simple quadratic. Now there are two ways that we can do this. We can take an educated guess. We could factorise this out, or try and factorise it out, and we could take an educated guess. Okay, now I would take an educated guess on this and say, okay, well, this is going to be 2 brackets. Now the only way I can get 2x squared would be 2x and x. And this is the reason that I would take an educated guess, is because the only way that we can get 2x squared is 2x and x. Now to get 9, again I would take an educated guess and say that that will be 3 times 3. Okay, 9 and 1 are possibilities, but I will go with 3 times 3. So this would be 3 and this would be 3. Now all of these are negatives. Okay, so for me to multiply 3 by 3 and get minus 9, one of these 3's must be plus and one must be minus. So I would try plus 3 here and minus 3 here. Okay, and I would just multiply that to see if it does give me what I want. Now 2x times x gives me 2x squared. 2x multiplied by minus 3 gives me minus 6x. 3 times x gives me plus 3x, and plus 3 times minus 3 gives me minus 9. Now if I simplify that, that gives me 2x squared minus 6x plus 3x gives me minus 3x minus 9. So my assumption was right. Okay, now you can't always do this, but if I can find a shortcut then I will. If you've got 2x squared, the only way you can get 2x squared is 2x multiplied by x, and it seems nice and simple that we have a square number here, so I have equal values here. It's just which side is plus and which side is minus, and on the first go I got it right. So if this is the case, then 2x plus 3, I can say that 2x equals minus 3. Remember, we take the number and change the sign, so x must equal minus 1.5, and then here x will equal 3 because we take the number and change the sign. So our final answers are x equals minus 1.5 and x equals 3. Okay. Now there is another method, or there are several methods actually, of factorising this out. Okay, you could go 2 times 9 is 18. What multiplied by 18 will give you the 3x that you need, so that would be 6 and 3. Okay, you would then write this out and then do it accordingly. Okay, so here I would take an educated guess because I can see that it's fairly simple. Okay, what's important is that you know this part here, and then also how to manipulate the equation to get it into a quadratic. Okay, I did say it was going to be a bumpy ride, but it's quite a nice question, but it's one, because it's at the end of the paper, the last question, it tends to be probably the hardest question on the paper, and a lot of people will shy away, but I would at least attempt some of it, because the devil's in the detail. Okay, if you make a start on the question, you can get marks for the work that you've done. Okay, now I hope that's helped, and I'll do some more papers, and I just wish you good luck.